everyone. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We're about to begin our public meeting with the public budget hearing. And then when that concludes, we will have our Meet the Candidates night. So if you can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so this is the first part of the budget presentation, and I have some remarks on the budget. I'm pleased to discuss the expenditure plan proposed for the 2022-2023 with you this evening. The Board of Education, administrative team, and district faculty and staff have worked collaboratively to develop this proposal. I would like to begin by thanking everyone who contributed to the process. Thank you. Our goal in the budget development process was to maintain our programs while keeping the tax burden on the community as low as possible. Accordingly, we have worked hard to continue our long-standing tradition of excellence at an affordable cost. The proposed budget for 2022-2023 increases spending by 1.92%. This is less than half of the 2021 consumer price increase of 4.7%. The resulting tax levy increase of 2.52% is $798 below our cap. Throughout the budget development process, the strategic plan was instrumental in helping to prioritize items that will advance the district goals of long-term sustainability and a safe, innovative, and engaging learning environment. Specifically, the district proposes to long-term sustainability, 3 faculty and staff positions were reduced through attrition. In our personalized, innovative, and engaging learning, we maintain the high-quality educational experience for which Lake George Central School District is known. Continue investments in the district's one-to-one technology program. And musical instruments, athletic, and classroom equipment replacement as needed. In safeguarding the community's investment, we continue painting and carpeting, flooring and classroom furniture replacements as needed, and new groundskeeping equipment. Following our vehicle replacement plan schedule, residents will be asked to approve the purchase of one 60-passenger school bus as a separate proposition. This purchase will be financed by issuing a bond anticipation note, and the first of 5 debt service payments will be made in the 2023-24 school year. This will be the 11th year of purchasing buses through a budget proposition and financing them over a 5-year period. So a prior purchase will come off the debt payment schedule when this one is added, leveling the impact on taxes. Our capital outlay project. The proposed budget includes a transfer to the capital fund in the amount of $100,000. This will allow for the replacement of 9-unit ventilators in the high school in order to improve ventilation. We will receive 10% state building aid in the following year to help offset the cost of these units. Capital reserve proposition. This year, there will be a special proposition to establish a capital reserve fund. It will be used to offset the local share of future capital projects, which would require voter approval to undertake. The proposed fund would be capped at $10 million with a probable duration of 10 years. The proposed capital reserve fund would be funded by portions of the unallocated fund balance as determined by the Board of Education. The Board of Education would like to thank everyone who was involved in developing the budget. We hope the district will continue to see the overwhelming community support that has contributed to many years of success for the students of Lake George. If you'd like more information, you can find it on our website, www.lkgeorge.org. And now Mary Ann has additional comments.
Okay, these are remarks on the 2022-23 budget estimated revenues. The Board of Education is pleased to propose a budget that stays at the tax cap while providing personalized opportunities for all students that empower them to be lifelong learners, leaders, and global citizens. When developing the budget, the district was mindful of creating a sustainable budget for the future. Conservative spending, careful planning, and prudent fiscal management enable the district to minimize the tax burden while maximizing education opportunities for our students. Maintaining a stable tax rate and minimizing the tax burden on our residents is always a priority when developing our budget. Lake George has one of the lowest tax rates in our county and is very low compared to schools across the state. Our property owners contribute 86% of our operating support. For 2022 through 23, the district is proposing a tax levy increase of 2.52%, which is $798 below our tax cap. This will yield an additional $514,858 in property taxes. Based on current information, a $200,000 home in the Lake George School District, taxes would increase by about $31. And for a $300,000 home, the increase would be about $47. State aid accounts for only 10% of our revenues. We are projected to receive the minimum increase in foundation aid of 3%. However, the estimated total state aid for next year is expected to decrease by $89,000, primarily due to a reduction in expenditures that generate expense-based aids. To help offset the burden on taxpayers to balance the budget, the district is strategically appropriating fund balance and reserves. For 2022 through 23, the district plans to use $485,831 from the appropriated fund balance and $350,000 from appropriated reserves. Together, they represent about 3% of the district's total revenue projection. Finally, as your school board, it is our mission to carefully manage resources in order to continue to fulfill the community's vision for the district and its children for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. And Learn Durway has our budget presentation.
Good evening, everyone. This is the last of our budget presentations for the 22-23 school year budget. We started in February and have had a presentation board meeting since then. These are the budget goals, which we've reviewed at each of our meetings. Years ago, budgets were created very, very differently. You put together an expenditure plan, you figured out what it was going to cost, you deducted your other revenues, and the resulting balance was what your tax levy was. However, since 2012, the tax cap calculation is what drives our budget. So for the first time since 2019, the statewide cap will be at 2% instead of lower, based on the CPI. For Lake George Central School District, our cap is 2.52%. This chart is from the State Controller's Office, and it shows you the various state caps each year. And I want to point out that even though we're capped at 2% statewide, The rate of inflation, or the CPI, for 2021 was at 4.7%. So that makes creating a budget quite a challenge. We're also driven by several state mandates. This slide is dated, so by now I know there's many more than 200 mandates that go beyond the federal level, and it contributes more than $6 billion statewide to the cost of educating our students. The district has taken a number of cost-saving measures. We purchase through state contracts whenever possible, cooperative bidding through our BOCES. We participate in our BOCES Health Insurance Trust Consortium, along with 30 other districts, which reduces premium cost. And we also participate in our BOCES Workers' Compensation Consortium. We reduce our energy costs by participating in a cooperative for energy, such as natural gas and electricity. We have automated temperature controls. We've reconfigured bus routes, and we've eliminated positions through attrition. So this year we were focused on maintaining all programs and services while continuing to upgrade technology, transportation and maintenance upgrades, and again, the savings we had through eliminating 3 positions through attrition. This is a summary. Total budget, $24,367,652, representing an increase of just a little over 450,000, or a percent increase of under 2%, 1.92%. Tax levy, $20,972,000, which is an increase of 514,858, or 2.52%. Which is $798 below our cap. So this, along with all our presentations, will be on our district website. And I just want to point out where you see a highlighted item where it says detailed budget. In the upper left, you click on that and it brings you to all the itemized printouts of our budget. So this is a summary of the 3 main components: administrative, program, and capital. And it shows you a 2-year budget to budget comparison, the dollar change, and the percentage change. So also, looking at it in a different way, we show the major objects of expense. And as in most school districts, salary and benefits account for about 75% of our total spending. So here we see our estimated revenues, a side-by-side comparison of the 2 years. Again, the 1.92% at the bottom, the total change, an increase of 457,903, and we have the link to more detailed information. So I want to talk about state aid for a minute. It looks like we're going to be getting a state aid reduction according to this information. But again, this is a budget to budget comparison. We will not be realizing as much state aid this year as we budgeted. So taking that into account, it's a slight increase over what we'll receive this year, but a decrease when comparing it to this year's budget. And part of the reason for that is because so many of the aids are expense-based aids. So if you don't spend the money, you don't get the aid on it. And we've reduced some of the estimated expenditures in those categories. So to review some of our state aid ratios, our transportation state aid ratio is 6.5%. Our BOCES aid ratio is 36%. And our building aid ratio is 10%. So looking at the increase, as was mentioned earlier, on a $200,000 house, the increase is about $31 in most cases, which, as you know, is less than a tank of gas for most people. And for a $300,000 house, it's about $47 per year. So this pie chart shows you the revenue breakdown. And I want to point out our state aid is about 10% of our total budget. Lake George is considered a wealthy district because of all the property values in our district. So because of that, it impacts us in a negative way. If we were to look at some of our neighbors, they would be getting probably 50 to 70% of their budget funded through state aid. This gives you the 6-year history of our total budgets. And you see at the bottom that the total annual increase has been about $241,000. This gives you our tax levy increases over the last 6 years. The average has been about 1.75%. Our unrestricted fund balance is at 4%, which is the legal limit, and that's 4% of this year's budget. So that represents $956,390. And this is a listing of all our reserve funds. These funds are reserved for specific uses. And this is a good sign of financial health. The state controller has determined we're a district without any fiscal stress at all. As mentioned earlier, there'll be 2 propositions this year, one for the purchase of a 60-passenger school bus and one to create a capital reserve fund. This capital reserve fund will have a limit of $10 million. We can fund it over 10 years. It can only be used on capital projects which the voters approve. So it's very similar to a savings account. If you were saving for a new house or what have you, you're putting aside extra funds to accommodate that purchase in the future. Our budget has a big impact, not only locally, but regionally and statewide. As you can see, we have 186 full-time employees, but there's a spillover benefit. All the services that we require from other people, I look at people like the UPS driver coming in and food deliveries, and that all has a financial impact. So in our district, it's an impact of $500,000. And then if we look at the capital district impact, it's even greater at over $64 million. And statewide, school districts have an impact of $1.2 billion. So in the event that we have to have a contingency budget, we have 3 alternatives. We could put the same budget up for a second vote, which would be in June, or we could revise the budget and have a revised figure for people to vote on. We can go straight to a contingency budget. The board could adopt a budget in the amount of $23,852,794. And that would be a reduction of all non-contingent expenditures. And it also would be a level tax levy. So in effect, people's taxes would stay the same as they were the previous year. This budget notice is part of your budget newsletter, and it gives you the details concerning the breakdown of a contingency budget. I do want to hit on a couple of points I received some questions on. I was questioned when people read their newsletter about the BOCES increase this year, and that's due to the number of students that are expected to attend special classes at BOCES next year, students with special needs. And I was also asked about the increase for employee benefits. And we're seeing those increases primarily in 2 areas. The teachers' retirement system rate increased from 9.8 to 10.29%. And health insurance went up 4.4%. Health insurance for us represents about 20% of our budget at a total of $4.9 million. I also want to hit once again on the $100,000 transfer to the capital fund for a capital outlay project. And this is for UV units in the high school to improve unit air filtration in certain areas. So here's all the details regarding our budget vote. Please remember to vote Tuesday, May 17th, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the elementary school. And all the information about the budget is on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Do we have any board comments? No? Is there anyone from the public who would like to come up and share a comment or ask a question? Everybody wants to get to meet the candidates. Excellent. Well, oh, yes. Oh, thank you for that tip. How we doing, Dane? So we'll give that a minute and, oh, here, dun, dun, dun. We'll give that a minute and I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and adjourn and then we'll do our shift and then we'll do our introduction once we get that online. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I appreciate that. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, sorry. Oh, second. Very good. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And but I pronounced it right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Meet the Candidates portion of our evening. It's my pleasure to introduce our candidates. We have Mary Ann McKenzie, Linda Clark, Christopher Picard, Mario Fazzulo. We have Donna Prime, Lisa Doster, and Greg Soddy. And tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our moderator from the League of Women Voters, Ann Krill.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, candidates, for being part of the political process. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Candidate event for Lake George School Board election. All candidates on the ballot were invited, and they all came. This event was organized by the Lake George School District and is being moderated by the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. It will be recorded and posted on the school district website. League rules require that if a Meet the Candidates event is recorded, it must be broadcast or rebroadcast in its entirety. My name is Ann Krill. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. I live in the town of Wilton, and I will be your moderator tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan volunteer political organization dedicated to the informed and responsible participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. That has been League policy since 1920. Membership is open to anyone who is eligible to vote and register and vote. So please consider joining your local league. We have received many questions from the community in advance, and these were reviewed by league members, and questions were selected to be representative and to avoid redundancy. Questions of a personal nature are never included. Candidates, this is your opportunity to let voters know your stance on these topics and how you will address the issues facing the Lake George schools. Please do not waste valuable time tearing down or labeling your opponent. Deal with the facts. In your closing, no putting your opponent on the spot with no chance to reply. We have timers for this evening's event in the front row. Cards will be held up for the candidates to glance at. Green means 1 minute is left. Yellow means 30 seconds is left. And red means time is up. And there will also be a bell, just in case you don't see the card. The 7 candidates for the 3 open school board seats, in order as they will appear on the ballot and in the order as you see them tonight, are Greg Soddy, Lisa Doster, Donna Prime, Mario Fasulo, Christopher Picard, Linda Clark, and Marianne McKenzie. Now it is time to hear their 2-minute opening statements. We have decided to stay in the order they appear in the ballot for our order of speaking tonight. So the first to speak for an opening statement of 2 minutes is Greg Soddy.
Hello, thank you for coming. I haven't done this since college. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Walton, New York, which is just down the road a couple of hours. Graduated in 1992, went right into the United States Navy. I was stationed in 3 locations: Boston, Massachusetts, Norfolk, Virginia, and I ended my career in San Diego. After I got out, I attended Hartwick College down in Oneonta, New York for 2 years. And then I went back out to San Diego and couch surfed for a while and got myself through an accounting degree onto my master's in business. Later got married. I have a 5-year-old and made it back here. My platform, firstly, are parent rights. One of the things I found out was that parents contribute, I guess it was 86% of the budget, yet they get 0 say in much of the policies and the curriculum that go on in the schools. Fiscal responsibility, I would like to dig into the numbers. I am an accountant. I would like to dump the data and create an application to see what the actual income statement says, that sort of thing. And then that ties into the limited government and trying to get the state out of the schools. I don't know if it can be done, but it seems like a lot of this stuff is coming down from the state, which I believe is basically the backdoor of federal government. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Next is Lisa Doster.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Doster. Thank you to all for being here and for all participants. I'm very excited to be running for Lake George Central School District Board of Education position. I have a positive vested interest in our district and our community. I'm a parent of 2 children in the district and a 20-year business owner in the region. If chosen for a board position, I will bring a strong analytical ability to simplify and cut through doubt, problems, and offer solutions. I'm an optimist, an out-of-the-box thinker, and problem solver. I have a background in contract writing and financial negotiations that will serve well in policy writing and fiscal responsibility. And working in a team environment, bringing forward the best interests for all of us. It has been a very challenging time through this pandemic as we still navigate. Our focus should be on getting our children back on track where they have fallen behind socially, academically, mentally, and physically. It's time to provide common sense measures and understanding of laws, individual circumstances, values, and freedoms. A time to proactively focus on preparing our children for their future that results in a productive manner in society. Offer better flexibility and process. Individual directed agendas do not always support the majority and ultimately may not be needed. I believe it is essential in prioritizing what is most important to impact our children and empower them for the future. I believe the Board of Education and Administration should always ask the essential question when working on projects. Is the project the most important thing we should be focused on at this time? What will be the impact upon the children? And what are the long-term goals? I am your voice. This is our school. These are our children. This is our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And next is Donna Frank.
Hi, I'm Donna Prime. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event, and thank you all for showing up. Special thanks to the familiar faces in the crowd who came to support me through this panic of public speaking. I'm running for the school board because this district provided a very strong foundation for my 3 sons who attended school here from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. They're currently all off pursuing their careers far from home, and now that I don't have to spend every day driving them in 3 different directions, I find myself with time to pay forward to the current and future students to help ensure that each of them also get a very strong foundation to assist them in achieving their goals. My professional background has 2 distinct parts, both of which are relevant to being able to contribute as a school board member. I graduated from Yale and Columbia University with degrees in economics, a bachelor's and master's. I worked in a business role for 8 years, with the final and most relevant position being the Director of Budget and Administration for the New School of Social Research's Graduate School of Management. So I have solid background in school budget formulation and administrative needs. However, I eventually decided that people were way more interesting than numbers. So I went back to school to become a physician assistant, and I've been working in that role for the past 23 years. Most of that has been in family practice, but for 3 years, I worked at the school health center in the Hadley Luzerne School District. So I have direct experience in working in school health and keeping students healthy. I never expected those 2 very different careers would end up having something in common, but it turns out school board member is where they come, in junction. So I'm doubly qualified, I feel, with my background. In addition to my professional experience, I have participated in several ad hoc committees in this district over the years and actively participated in my son's education. I believe my professional expertise and my sincere interest in and concern for the continuation of a solid program of learning and social and physical development for the students of this district will make me a strong contributor to the Lake George Board of Education. I look forward to collaborating with other board members, whoever they turn out to be, to help this district provide the best possible start to our students' lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Next is Mario Fasulo.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. That's a good turnout. I grew up in Queensbury. My family and I moved here when I was a little kid. We owned a few different businesses in town, in Lake George, actually, and one in Queensbury. I owned my own business in Glens Falls when I was in my early 20s, and then I decided to move away. And my wife and I started a family in Massachusetts, but we always called this area home. And whenever we would come home for the holidays or the weekends or the summer, that's what we would say is, hey, we're going home. We had the opportunity to move home about 5 years ago, and we were thankful we did. And now we believe that we should have done it sooner. The school and the town has done a tremendous job with our 3 girls. We had 1 graduate last year, and I have a junior and a freshman. And now that I'm home more often and I have some more time, I want to get involved and give back to the community that gave our family so much. My kids, my oldest, this was her 4th school, and what a difference this school made in her life. One of the reasons we decided to move is because the school they were going to go into after middle school had a police officer stationed out front, not because they wanted to, like our SRO officers, but because they had to. And we knew that wasn't the environment for them. And so we decided to make the move. And I do believe that the school has a ton of positives going for it, and I really want to be part of the group to help that momentum continue forward and build upon it. So I thank you for your time very much, and I look forward to this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Next is Christopher Picard.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. My name is Chris Picard, and I am seeking your vote on May 17th for one of 3 board seats. The amount of care and professionalism at the elementary school has motivated me to run for the board and give back in any way that I can. I have 2 daughters at Lake George Elementary School, Lillian, who is in 4th grade, and Sophia, who is in 1st grade. My wife and I moved to Lake George in 2016 after researching schools and areas that we thought aligned with our beliefs, and Lake George seemed to be the best fit for our family. I own and operate 3 businesses in Lake George, thus making me invested in our community's success. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering technology management. In 2004, I joined the United States Marine Corps after graduating from Salkins Falls. While in the Marine Corps, I was promoted to non-commissioned officer in charge of the Aviation Supply Department, where I had over 120 Marines under my leadership. It was my responsibility to drive my Marines in professional development while simultaneously requiring individual accountability. The skills that I learned in the Marine Corps, having 2 daughters in the school, along with being invested in the community, make me an ideal candidate for the board. Honor, courage, and commitment is the Marines' motto, and that is what was instilled in me from my superiors. When things get tough, we pick our heads up and we drive forward. As a board member, I will bring a different perspective focused on student support services, fiscal responsibility, and parental and stakeholder input on all policies, not just that of a select few. I have the professional disposition to encourage and motivate those around me. I strongly believe in parental engagement and inclusion on all matters which directly affect our children. My professional experience will be an asset to this district, which I will use to enhance our buildings and grounds, more specifically our bus garage. To the kids who are unsure about whether they want to go to college or not, I would like to promote opportunities in skilled trades. Owning a small business is extremely difficult in this day and age, and my fiscal responsibility in my businesses will ensure that Lake George maintains its budget within the tax cap while including all students' needs and professional development. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Next is Linda Clark.
Hello, my name is Linda Clark. I have over 30 years' experience in education. I loved teaching, especially the intellectual exchange with students as we engaged in literature discussions. I believe in fair labor practice. I was active with my local, and after retiring 6 years ago, I began to serve as the association's president. I brought transparency back and professionalized the union. While following the political machinations of this country, I realized that families once trusted to be a safe harbor for children is no longer the case. With research, I discovered that the diversity, equity, and inclusion policy seemed like a utopia, but it is merely a Trojan horse. Rooted in critical race theory, it radically changes curriculum regarding our country's history and sexual education, indoctrinating children and exposing them to concepts inappropriate for their age and maturity levels. I do not believe there is a necessity to develop a non-mandated DEI policy, but I have been an active participant with the policy committee to hopefully influence how far into the rabbit hole it'll take the district. I'm an advocate for public education, but believe we may see its demise. Lake George already has problems with student numbers, and if this radical direction continues, parents will look for alternative ways to educate their children. Lake George may be one of the first schools to implement the newest vogue movement in education, but it may also be the first to shutter its doors because of it. Children have the right to grow without suggestive rhetoric, to change them, or to make them feel bad about themselves. They must learn to think, not to be told how to think. Education must be free of an agenda that breaks down pride in our country, the normal development of innocence, and parental rights. I look forward to working at the BOE level to protect children and the integrity of education. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Next is Marianne McKenzie.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Ann McKenzie, and I am the current Vice President of the Lake George Board of Education. My husband, Mark, and I are grateful parents of 2 recent Lake George graduates who are members of the classes of 2019 and 2021. My appreciation for Lake George schools stems from their kindergarten through 12 journeys, when we witnessed the attentive guidance, individualized instruction, and thoughtful support provided by dedicated Lake George professionals. Our experience led me to care very much about the welfare of our district, including all students and all those who care for them. As a board member these last 3 years, my affection, commitment, and pride toward Lake George schools has deepened. I have observed school professionals navigate the COVID pandemic with selflessness and resolve. And I have been inspired by stakeholder passion and willingness to step up for the sake of our students. I have learned much about district roles, responsibilities, policies, and practices, And as items have come before the board, I have been pleased to help support and advance the district. Additionally, I have been thrilled to be in the role of welcoming voices to the table and to demonstrate and foster care and respect for others while we work together to elevate our schools. At this time, I'm eager to continue in my role as board member at Lake George School. If reelected, I will bring integrity, continuity, and an ongoing insistence on accountability and healthy processes. I will continue to listen, observe, and advocate with an open mind and objectivity. I will offer my ongoing investment in and dedication to supporting Lake George toward its highest potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Now it's time for questions. We received a lot of questions from the public. So in order to get to as many as we can after you have spent time and effort to get them to us, I'm going to do a rapid fire question for yes and no, with the yes and no answers at the end of the evening. And we're going to try and finish our event before 9 o'clock. Okay? Candidates, you have up to 1.5 minutes to respond to a question. You are not required to respond. You may pass if you wish. Each candidate will be given 2 opportunities to ask for an additional minute during the question session for a rebuttal or to expand an answer. Hold up a red card if you want to do that. In other words, just put it in front of you. Don't wave it while someone else is talking. So we don't want to interrupt what someone else is saying. Just put it in front of you and I will see it and call on you when the time is right. So and again, this can only be done during the question session. It may not be used during closing statements. Questions will be directed to the candidates in rotation, so everyone gets a chance to answer the question first. Right now, we're going to start with the questions, and the first person to answer will be Greg Saudi. This question concerns population decrease, declining enrollment, and there's 2 parts to it. Do you feel the board should investigate options for consolidation of school buildings and or sale of some school buildings? And as far as balancing the budget, how would you deal with the concerns for the desire for quality programs and opportunities, including mental health and special needs, keeping in mind that there's declining enrollment? Do you want me to repeat that?
That was a really
lot.
long question. Much of that stuff I'm not really an expert on. As far as like fiscal responsibility and mental health, I would have to look to financial records and see where funds are lying to be adjusted, if that's possible. As far as the school consolidation is concerned, I would probably be against that for some kind of more autonomy. And I would like my daughter, and I'm sure a lot of parents would agree, they would like a smaller school and a smaller environment instead of going like consolidating and creating more numbers. Also, I'm not sure if that would add or if they would add the teachers to the new school or not. So that might threaten their jobs. So I guess that's really all I can say.
Okay, thank you. Lisa?
3 things of importance for us to focus on: funding, where it's coming from, how it's utilized, does it truly help or hinder our children? Until we are given the full true facts of the data on the funding, only then can we devise a plan moving forward. Do we really need funding, or do we have bigger problems like the impact of declining numbers of students in our district? I would like to understand better why certain people are pulling their children out of our district, why our district has not offered to work with families locally just outside of the district and offer incentives to be enrolled in our school. Towns like Queensbury should step in to help. I know half of Glen Lake is in the Lake George School District and half is in the Queensbury School District. Why not offer opportunity for those in close vicinity the option of the school they would like to enroll in? Could we offer online instruction to students outside of the district? Why not start an early education program at our elementary school? I chose an early education program outside of the district when my children were 2 years of age. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to start them off at our district if we provide early education. Continued student success is a priority, whether there's mental health or special service needs. And the focus should be on reading, writing, math. Thank you.
Okay.
Goes quick, doesn't it? Goes quick.
Did you put up the red card? Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right.
No,
What?
no,
I just, you didn't mean to have your red card, did you?
no, I haven't put that up.
That was just,
Yep,
there you go.
I'm saving those babies. Thank you.
Goes fast, doesn't it, that time?
It does.
Okay.
My turn?
Yes, Donna.
Okay. The first part of the question was about consolidating the buildings. And
Yes.
I guess my short answer to that is that I would not be in favor of that. I think little kids have plenty of time to be exposed to the things that big kids do. And so I like the fact that they're two separate buildings and preserve that innocence as long as possible. I'm all for that. I also just sat through the budget presentation and it seems like the Lake George School District is really fiscally sound. So I'm happy to hear that. The declining student enrollment, I actually had a discussion with our superintendent recently, and that is a national problem. That's happening all over the state, all over the country. So it's not just our school district. I'd like to think of it as an opportunity for the kids who are here to get more personalized instruction. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you have, a smaller student to teacher, ratio. But I do think that we're going to have to work to maximize our resources. We may have to share with other school districts, maybe hire teachers who are dually certified to teach 2 different classes so we can get by with fewer teachers. There are things we're gonna have to think outside of the box, not just for athletics where there aren't enough numbers, where we have to consolidate. Maybe with programs and electives, one school nearby, we can use their school and they can use ours for things. So we'll have to be creative, but I don't think it's necessarily all bad.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Next is Mario Basulo.
I believe the overarching question was research into the declining enrollment.
Right, and basically how you're going to deal with the budget with regard to,
So in 2019, the school did commission a report from Capital Area School Development Association just to look into the declining enrollment. The last 10 years, the schools declined about 25%. It's less than the state average, but it's a decline nonetheless. But when you read through that report, it really talks about the strong foundation that the school has. We have a 96% graduation rate versus a state average of 80. Our ELA and mathematics scores are top in the state. Our students have strong region scores. We have a 3-year science course that gives students, high school students, 18 college credits. There's not a lot of other schools around here that do that. So the enrollment is down, but there's a lot that we have that can attract other people. So some of the other suggestions that came out of that report was, how do we create a financial incentive for others to come here? Do we reduce tuition for teachers' children or other people? Do we share our strengths with other schools? How do we get other schools to come in and be part of our large class, not our large classes, but our strong classes? How do we put more kids on the BOCES bus from other school districts to continue that program moving forward? The budget, I got to agree with Donna. It's physically sound. The school is only, that was fast. Wow.
would you like to add to your time? Would you like
Now we're
to,
at the end,
want to use your red?
if you want to use a red card, you may do it now
but they're super valuable.
to add to your remarks.
Thank you.
Okay. Just so the audience knows, those red cards are to be used for an extra minute. But they only have 2. Next is Christopher.
As far as declining enrollment, I think it's really a result of this area, in a lot of ways. We're a tourist area. Jobs are hard to come by. Unless you're a small business owner, it's really hard to survive in this area. So I don't know if that necessarily is due to a policy, 100%, but I would say it's more or less a direct result of where we live. As far as the sale of school buildings, I'd be against that. I think that in the end, may cost the district more. In the event we do increase our student base, we sell buildings. Where does that leave us as far as infrastructure? Consolidating buildings, same. I would disagree with that. And with the declining enrollment, I think it's important that if there is a declining enrollment, that should reflect in the school budget. If there's a constant declining enrollment, I don't necessarily know if a significant increase or in the budget is necessary.
Okay,
So
thank you, Christopher.
that was 30 seconds.
Oh,
Okay.
is that it?
I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Next is Linda Clark.
I really sincerely believe that it's essential that we have two buildings, the K through 6 and 7 through 12. It's important to keep those buildings separate. So I would not be in favor of consolidating those buildings. I really do feel as though it's important that we have a balance of education for our kids, so that all of them have the opportunity to succeed. And there needs to be a focus on the core classes of reading, writing, math, and science. Declining enrollment is a concern, and it could get much worse. After speaking with many parents out on the campaign trail, I have heard over and over again how they will consider taking children out of the school and homeschooling them because of radicalized programs. I think we need to be very careful about where we're going with all of this, because we will alienate a lot of people in the community. Thank you.
Okay, that was 1 minute left. That wasn't a stop sign, but are you finished?
I'm good.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Linda. And now Mary Ann McKenzie.
Okay, so yes, declining enrollment is a reality for our school and our country. We know that the adult population is having less children, for one thing. That's a big part of the reality. And also locally, it's hard to find housing in our area, and that compounds it. I don't know who said it, but you know, every challenge opens the door for an opportunity. And, you know, we need to adapt to this reality. Dr. Huntley gave a really nice presentation recently on enrollment trends, which shows us that, you know, we're very typical for the region in terms of our declining enrollment. And, you know, so we're all faced with needing to adapt. And what I really believe is that we have a lot of seasoned and dedicated professionals in our district. We want to leverage the strengths of our internal resources, that includes our professionals, to find creative solutions and ways to adapt to this problem. And, you know, we know that, you know, when our efforts are collaborative, our best outcomes occur. There'd be a lot of things to consider: attrition, universal pre-K, F1 visas, increasing shared services, community partnerships. You know, I haven't heard, you know, about consolidating school buildings or selling school buildings. Those would be big ones. But, you know, if the collaborative processes would yield all kinds of ideas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mary Ann. All right, the second question, we're going to start this round of questions with Lisa Doster as the first respondent. There is a New York State initiative to support diversity, equity, and inclusion. How can Lake George CSD meet this mandate and ensure equity for all students?
Good question. Better yet, it's Teachers Appreciation Week. I would like to give a shout out to all current and retired teachers inside and outside of the district. You are valued beyond words. I thank you, and I am in awe of you and your commitment to our children in giving them their start in the future. Your job is most important. We are proud parents to support you. That is why I chose my running mate, Linda Clark, who has not only had an experienced background as a teacher for 30 years, but also as a union president supporting teachers. Linda never once influenced or shared her personal political thoughts or beliefs to influence her students. Instead, she taught her students how to think for themselves. I commend her for that. What we teach becomes our future tomorrow. It is our legacy carried on. We honor you all. Thank you. In regards to DEI, that's something that is very on the forefront. I've been on the policy committee, working with them for the ad hoc committee. Part of that was, why was our Indian warrior symbol initial phase out tied to the climate committee and the implementation of the DEI policy? DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. This policy has last minute additions without consent, including gender identity, and was renamed to a student-centered learning environment policy by our policy staff committee and goes to first read next Tuesday at our monthly board meeting. Our history in our community is rich in Native American history. This should be honored in our district, not set to be phased out when talking about having diversity and inclusion. Phasing it out would be a counterproductive measure to a DEI policy. This should be an opportunity to teach our future community members, our children, of the importance of our local history and our natives. By taking it away, further takes away from the Native Americans and what could potentially be learned to help us all. Thankfully, with our concerns, it was agreed to honor and keep the symbol for now. Once these policies, like DEI, are implemented, who knows what will happen next. I'm running to make sure that our warrior symbol is honored and continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, so you've used one
Yep.
red card. Okay, just leave the one in front and the other on your tape.
Thanks.
All right, Donna, next.
Okay, I'm trying to remember the exact question. It's how
Okay.
the Lake George school system can meet the mandates that New York
To,
State.
for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay. So a few years ago, I was on the strategic plan ad hoc committee, and the board ended up having a new mission statement and mission, vision, and values. And I think that Lake George has really already made good steps towards making sure that we support diversity, equity, and inclusion. Their values spell CREATE. It's collaboration, respect, excellence, accountability, trust, and empathy. And I think that the goal is to make sure that every student has equal opportunity, to empower all students to be lifelong learners, leaders, and global citizens is the school mission. I believe that equity, ensuring every student gets full access to the resources they need to reach their goals, is a primary mission of public education. No student should be left out. I mean, that's a basic starting point. As for inclusion, every student should feel welcomed and valued. They each contribute to the school committee, and they should each have their chance to participate and even to lead. Diversity comes in many forms, not just race, but family composition, financial means, intellectual capabilities, and interests. By allowing every student of background to have the chance to fully participate, we'll develop young adults who can both lead and listen. Embracing diversity leads to an openness of spirit which encourages dialogue. Dialogue leads to understanding and trust. And these are characteristics that are needed for citizens to be able to work together from the local level to the national level. We want our school to develop future leaders, and embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion is essential to that goal, and having a policy that keeps us accountable to doing that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Mario Basulo.
So the DEI was a recommendation from the Board of Regents. It's not a mandate. So luckily the school can tailor that policy for what we need. In the fall, there was a policy committee meeting that the community members, school members, faculty was on. It's been through a few different revisions, and there's no policy in place yet. So we're still in the process of being able to write it the way we want to write it for our students. But as Donna said, it's a lot more than just race. We have a huge disparity in the socioeconomics in Lake George. It's also equity for kids with learning disabilities, and how does the school get everybody involved in that, which the Elm School, I know from experience with my kids, does a great job of getting every kid the opportunity to be on a program, and the high school does as well. So DEI, I think at times we get nervous that it's a mandate. It is not a mandate. The Board of Regents put out a recommendation, and the school is beginning to create a policy that works for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Christopher Picard.
New York State initiative to support DEI. I believe Lake George can meet this with student support services. The elementary school does a fantastic job assisting kids, whether it be learning disabilities, financial restrictions. I can't say enough great things about the elementary school. As far as the policy goes, I think engagement with stakeholders would be beneficial for this district. Really get an idea from all parents where they stand. We kind of have redundant policies in place as far as DEI and the military. It's equal opportunity, and it's really no different here. It's the same motto when you're getting raised by your parents. Treat everyone the way you'd like to be treated, and I think it's just a redundant policy that we put forward. I think that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you, Christopher. Linda Clark.
Yes, first of all, I want to make it absolutely clear. The DEI policy is not a mandated policy. In fact, the state is offering some cash for any school that adopts that policy. So there is a financial incentive for schools to take it on. The policy committee, I've been working with the policy committee, and they sold to the public that this is an affirmation policy of the existing policies that are already in place. And there are very, very good existing policies that cover diversity, equity, inclusion. The DASA, Code of Conduct, non-discrimination and anti-harassment, gender identity, response to intervention, ESSA, all of the SEL, all of these policies already cover everything that involves DEI. So my question is, what then is DEI supposed to be doing above and beyond what's already here? And what we're seeing is already happening in the classroom. And this is what's disturbing me. Black Lives Matter, Pledge of Allegiance, gay ABCs, already happening in the classroom. Black Lives Matter program covers, teacher rhetoric suggesting that all students are, all white students are intrinsically racist. Teachers sharing out sexual preference and identification. Teachers asking students to bend over so they can take pictures of their back.
Excuse me, do you want to use
It's a
another
problem.
red card?
It's a problem. No, am I done?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Thank you, Linda. Marianne McKenzie.
So, oh, it's a lot. That's a lot. We have a culture and climate committee in this school that has a charge of creating a school culture where everyone is important, welcome, and valued. It's simple. When New York State Board of Regents put down an expectation that we look at adopting a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, we recognized that what they were suggesting, the topics, was in line with that very simple central importance to us that everybody who's here is important, welcome, and valued. We have many policies in the Lake George Policy Manual that guard against harassment, discrimination, and wrongdoing, but we don't have a policy that is steps further than that to celebrate what makes us different, invites everybody to the table, inclusion, and make sure that in a fair-based manner, we provide students what they need to be successful when they need it. That's what this policy is about. And the board policy committee, in an effort to be very open, because we sense the controversy that other narratives were bringing to this topic, we Okay, can I use my red card? right
Yes,
there?
you may use your red
Okay.
card.
So we had a process approach to this policy where we literally invited absolutely any Lake George stakeholder who was interested in providing input to this policy and participating in an introductory conversation so that we could learn more about each other and how we think and get on the same page. We started with that. We took a survey input on sample policies. We created something completely different through a widely collaborative process. We have a draft that matches Lake George's needs. It's customized to us. We feel really good about it. It's very simple per almost everyone requested, please make this simple for Lake George. We worked really hard and very long to customize and listen to what our stakeholders felt was important. And there was a lot of compromise in it, but we can be proud of it because it is a superior product, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. We'll let the last person give his answer, and then you go to your red card, Lisa.
I think the
Greg,
DEI,
sorry.
I think the DEI program is very redundant, and I can only speak to my own experience growing up in school. I don't recall anybody not getting their needs met. And I don't remember anybody getting bullied or not feeling included or any such thing. I believe DEI is a communist program that is designed to divide us and then create resentment between each other, and then the kids will suffer. And I know that if there is a financial incentive behind it, that there's going to be strings attached, and then it's the camel's nose under the tent, and then something else comes along, and something else comes along, and something else comes along, and it never ends. I think this should be a ballot initiative put to the parents, because in my walks around the town collecting signatures, I found not one person that agreed with it, and not one person wanted it. I myself thought about pulling my child out of school, prevent that. There were other reasons, but that was one of them. So I think that it is very, very redundant, and it is not necessary. I think it's up to the teachers and the parents to work together to ensure that their child is included and they get all the resources that they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. All right, Lisa, you have a red card. 1 minute.
We don't have a problem, so this unmandated policy should not be going forward as fast as it is, if it is not mandated or needed. The number one question I asked at the ad hoc committee was to define the bias we have in our district that would want us to have to set this DEI policy. Why bring this forward? That's number one. Let's call a duck a duck. Why isn't this document named a diversity, equity, and inclusion document? Instead, it's named staff. What was that? Well, anyway, it's not named what it is, and it should be. So let's call a duck and call it a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. And let's include staff and administration in the policy, please. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think, we have another red card, and that is Linda, is that right?
I figured it out. So last minute, gender identity was added to the DEI policy.
Excuse me, did she finish her 1 minute?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
my
I'm sorry,
time
you
was up?
finished your 1 minute. We have another red card up. I
Yeah.
believe it's Linda Clark.
Yes.
Okay.
So to finish what she was saying, we worked with the committee to develop a DEI policy as best we could so that we could mitigate some of the effects of it here in the district. We were given the last draft, and they introduced gender identity in the last draft without bringing that piece to the entire community for discussion. I have issues, since that has not been addressed with the entire community, that piece is not going to be clearly understood by the community once it's put in place. Additionally, it's important for you to know the framework the framework to the DEI policy. It is on the New York State website. The framework is clearly, the foundation of that is based in critical race theory. Read it for yourself. Go to the framework. You'll just look at the policy. It's very utopian in the way they've created it. But really, if you look at the root of where that policy was, sorry, I got to stop. But
Okay, thank you. I think we have one more red card. All right, I believe Mary Ann, right?
So a few people have said, you know, we don't have a problem. What is the, but, you know, we're all set. We don't need a policy like this. And I'm really glad that there are individuals that feel that way. But our mission at Lake George is to empower all students to be lifelong learners, leaders, and global citizens. And all means all. It means everyone. And I know that Lake George is doing amazing things all the time, but this policy asks us to capture that. The thing that's different here, we're doing amazing things, but we're asking ourselves to be accountable to these concepts, and to be able to say, you know, celebrate, what are we doing well, and where we have gaps, what can we do to do better? We can always be doing better for our students. And this policy is in line with our mission, vision, and values. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mary Ann. Mary Ann has used both of her red cards, and so has Lisa. Do we have any other people who want to speak with a red card on this issue? It seems to be very important to you, and know that we're going to have one more response question, and then we're going to go to rapid fire and then closing statement. So if you have something you'd like to say right now, go ahead. Red card for
I'm taking highest bidder for my red card,
for Christopher.
starting at $300, please.
Oh, wait, all right. So I guess you're
Oh,
saying we're
oh,
running
that
out of
wasn't-
chances to use it, right? You're, in other words, we're running out of chances to use our red card?
That's right. That's
It's
right.
now or never.
So,
All
yeah,
right,
it
I'll
is,
use
it is.
mine. I'll
we
use
can
mine.
use the red cards now, you say,
So
to address anything?
yes, you can use a red card to address anything. And right now we have
Is there
Donna,
one more
who
thing?
has one offered to speak.
Sure. I guess since, you know, I don't want to waste a red card. No, that's okay. I
can't
guess
hear
I'll chip in on this issue just very briefly. Because I'm hearing a couple of people saying that we don't have a problem, so we don't need the policy. But I've had, in my talks with parents, when I was petitioning, I actually talked to parents of non-white students, and there is a problem. Like, their students have been treated differently, and sometimes unintentionally, just from fellow students who just aren't aware of their culture, the other cultures. So there's microaggressions, and so it's part of diversity is teaching and celebrating other cultures, so that our students can learn about other cultures and not go out in the world and unintentionally like hurt somebody or insult somebody or just be kind of ignorant about other cultures. So there is a little bit of a problem going on. I don't think it's major. I don't think it's intentional. But if this policy helps us to be more accountable in teaching and preventing that in the future, then I think it's a good thing. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. We have another red card. Greg?
What I'd like to know is what are what's the criteria if this is really happening? What does this do to stop that behavior if it's happening? Is somebody being held accountable? Is the parent, the teacher? Is the student being held accountable? I think it's nice idea, but the problem with the United States is it's very, very diversified in culture. And it's unfortunate, but there are poor people and there are rich people. The bigger problem is the middle class is now getting poorer too. So I don't think this policy is going to really solve anything, and it's going to have unintended consequences of dividing us even more. Thank you.
All right, we definitely have a division here. Are we done on this issue? All right. Our last question before we go to rapid fire is, and we will start with Donna Prime.
It's like forfeited to
What do you think the district priority should be in the next few years? And what are your specific goals?
I think the district priority going forward is the same as it always should have been, which is to provide the best education possible for our students. Like that is what we're all here for. I think no matter, we can disagree on policies here and there, but every parent I've ever met in my life wants their school to help their kids have happy, healthy lives. You know, I think we all agree. So when it comes down to it, doesn't matter, you know, what your political leanings are. You probably want the best for your children. We all agree on that. And so there are budget constraints and there are enrollment issues, and we just have to focus on talking to each other and coming up with collaborative new ideas, and having differences of opinions is going to lead us to have the best chance of finding new ideas, because it's that diversity of ideas that probably will move us ahead. So just focus on the kids, make sure that we have the best programs available for them. I'd like to bring the community in, have some internships, some work study stuff going on. Make sure that mental health is to forefront, because with the pandemic, that became more of an issue. But basically, we need to find out what each kid needs and find a way to maximize our resources to get it to them. And that should always be our top priority. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. Mario Basulo.
Our immediate priority this year, this upcoming school year, would be the acclimation to the new superintendent, how the board and the community can help support him in the future of the school. I think there are times at the Board of Ed meetings where we need to have a little bit more clarity in the question and answer session, and being able to connect the parents and community members that have questions or concerns with the right people in the school to get them their answers. Board members don't have all the answers, and board members shouldn't have all the answers, but we have the resources to reach out to the experts and get the answers for the parents and the community members that want them. Donna touched on, student mental health, and that's a big deal. I believe, again, that we have a strong foundation here at this school. When you talk to the students, when you walk around, when you see some of the clubs and the programs, there's great things going on here. But the last few years have been tough for the kids. And for the teachers and for the faculty and the administrators. So how do we provide them, how do we allocate resources so we can provide them the tools and the skills they need to help get through some of the anxiety they have or the stresses they have from everything that's been going on? So those, I would say, would be the few priorities that I see over the next few years.
Thank you, Mario. Christopher Picard.
Last call for a red card.
That
District priorities, I think one of my top things would be fiscal responsibility with a looming recession. On the cusp, families are struggling right now. Every dollar counts. The slightest increase in monthly taxes, it affects the families a lot. So I think the fiscal responsibility with the district, we've done a pretty good job. I think our focus should really be on that. As far as our buildings, we have a pretty strong tax base, and our buildings should reflect that. And right now, our school bus garage does not reflect that. Just with my professional background, that would be something that I would like to take the lead on and go after and really get us where we should be. As well as our kids, COVID took a big toll on our kids, on their education. A lot of kids have fallen behind, not due to teachers' lack of commitment, but more or less policies by New York State. If you got runny eyes, my daughter has allergies. If you got runny eyes, go back, get tested. And after a while, it really takes a toll on the kids. So I think our district should really be focusing on the kids who really need the help. We should prioritize them and catching them back up to where they should be. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Christopher.
No, I think I've said all I needed to say. Thank you.
Okay. Linda Clark.
Okay, I think we need to most definitely acclimate to the new superintendent, welcome him in, and avoid whatever it was that sent however many superintendents running in the last 10 years. I mean, there has been way too much changeover in leadership in this particular district I don't understand why. I haven't been around, but whatever it is, we need to avoid that. Also, we need to set priorities and goals about spending money and spending money on radical outside firms like CASDA and Common Thread to come in here and develop DEI, programs and curriculum, which I think they intend to bring that in this summer and have Common Thread teach the teachers how to teach using DEI and critical race theory. I don't know that for sure because I keep asking the question and I'm not told. In any case, Common Thread, what is that? That's a firm that puts out professional articles on the 1619 Project and how wonderful that is, and also puts out articles on how the fact that white teachers cannot teach Black students. I was offended by that article when I read it. And these were the people that are coming in to teach our teachers how to teach. I'm just appalled by the selection of the companies that come in to offer these programs. We need to avoid comprehensive sexual education, and I need to stop. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Mary Ann. Oh, sure. What do you think the district priorities should be in the next few years, and what are your specific goals?
So in the next few years, well, I mean, it is always a priority to keep focus on improving our academic excellence and to focus on the whole child. We need to focus on, emerging from COVID. Students may have experienced academic as well as developmental losses. And we need to, tune into that and help to fill in gaps and provide support where we need to. We also need to focus on supporting our district staff who have also, given endlessly throughout COVID. And, the impact of COVID doesn't go away just because restrictions have lifted. So we want to take care of our students comprehensively, as well as the professionals in the district. We've already talked about declining enrollment. That needs to be a priority. I think, navigating our political climate, we see there's some charge here tonight. It's going to be a priority to really maintain an even keel and find ways to hold tight to each other with what we have in common with each other, what we can agree upon and build on that. The bus garage, as Chris said, yes, that needs to be a priority, and that is identified as a priority. We want to have a successful transition for our new superintendent as well, and safety is always a priority to be focusing on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. We have two more to answer the question, and then I'll go to the red cards if anyone has one. Greg is next. Greg Saudi.
The first priority, I guess, would be, I agree with the panel that we should welcome the superintendent in and make sure he stays a while. For me, it would be to really examine and get the fiscal house in order if there's any way we can save some money. And most importantly for me is to try to get the state out of the school. I think if we can get the state and the federal government, in my opinion, are the largest crime syndicates in human history. And they are dictating policy. And it's the federal government that's probably mostly dictating policy because the states had to be bailed out with the last bailout packages that came through for COVID. So they're the ones setting the policies, and they're completely corrupt. So my goal, and I don't know if I can do it, would be to get the state out of the schools.
Thank you, Greg. All right, Lisa Doster.
Thank you. District priorities, setting proper priority in our policies. A reset of trust in our district. Are we best served having board members not currently located in our district that are working full-time outside of our state? Another good question might be, why is our district so focused on Erie One BOCES writing our policies and steering the direction of our district and our community? Why not use local assets? Last year, I was concerned with the direction our school was headed. At the time, I was not looking to run for a board seat. I was just a concerned citizen of my community and a parent of this school district, wanting answers. I started to get involved and ask questions at policy committee meetings that one of my constituents was in charge of, but my questions were not being answered in the district. I realized this was bigger than what I could handle as an individual, and I started networking with friends and the community. I decided what better place to start than with our local and county level officials. One of my first discussions was at the Warren County Supervisors meeting, November 19th, 2021. Today, I see the importance of being on a board and the positive difference I can make, so I decided to run for this board seat. Also, I would like to send out a thank you to all the community that have written letters to our local newspapers. It's really nice being able to bring passion out in our community, and hopefully it inspires
Excuse me,
all to vote
Lisa,
on May 17th.
Maybe you misunderstood. This is not the closing statement.
No, that's not my closing
Okay,
statement.
So you have used both red cards, so you're done.
I'm-
Is
Thank you.
anyone else?
Yeah, I have.
Linda, I believe you put out your red card. Okay.
I just want to kind of just continue where I left off because I want to notify the public of what's going to follow on the heels of the DEI policy. All right, I have read extensively about what's happening across this country with these DEI policies. And the policy that follows is the Comprehensive Sexual Education Program. Now, granted, I know they're not talking about it now here in this district, but when they start talking about it, you need to pay very close attention because this is egregious. It is a problem because of what it will expose our children to. And I suggest you go online and start researching. This will encourage transgenderism and gender identity changes for children who are questioning where they're at on things. And you know, I was a tomboy. I was down in the basement playing with dad's tools. That didn't make me a boy. It made me a tomboy. And you know, I just have a problem with making these suggestions to
Sorry,
these children.
that the stop sign came up
Okay.
and I didn't see it.
Sorry, I didn't see the
Apparently
sign.
you didn't see it either. Okay.
Next time we'll
sorry
put
about
you
that.
right here.
Richard? Christopher? Go ahead.
I've been called worse. Back to the priorities. I really would like to see Lake George grow with the skilled trades. Lake George has an outstanding STEM program that gives us a unique position to develop a some sort of curriculum. Back in the day, we used to have shop class, you know, home ec, all this. They've gotten rid of a lot of that. But I really would like to see Lake George be the leader in growing a larger national issue that we have. As a business owner, we cannot find help. It's across the nation. And if you can find help, it almost costs you all your profit at the end of the day. And a lot of kids don't want to go to college. So what are we going to do for these kids who are unsure what they want to do, who don't want to go to college? I think we should really enhance that STEM program and offer an opportunity for kids who are unsure, an apprenticeship, BOCES type sort. I think that's about it. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Christopher. So we're going to move on to the rapid fire now. If no one else wants a red card. Okay, all right. All right, so bear with me now. This is going to be, I'm going to have to figure out and make sure I get the right people. Okay, we're going to start the rapid fire with Mario Fasulo. Just means you have to say yes or no.
I'm ready.
Okay? And we do have several questions. And this is going to be followed by your closing statements, just so you know.
Right now I'm doing it. but I'm
No,
doing
no,
both.
no, no. When
Okay.
we're all done with the rapid fire. Okay. Do you support live streaming and making permanently available on YouTube all future school board meetings to increase public participation,
Yes.
participation and education.
Yes.
Okay? Christopher,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes for school board meetings, no for classes.
Mary Ann.
Was the question with regard to school board meetings?
This is making live streaming available for school board meetings.
Oh, okay. I
Sure.
Misunderstood.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Greg,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Donna.
Yes.
All right. Do you support banning books? And we're starting with Christopher. Yes, you need to think about it, but just answer yes or no.
In general?
This is a terrible question. I'm sorry.
You can pass.
I'm gonna pass. Yeah.
You're going to pass. Okay.
I support banning books like The Lawn Boy.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, I support banning books like The Lawn Boy.
Excuse me. Just yes or no? Just trying to get through this
I said yes.
quickly. I don't understand what you said that, so it could be sarcastic and you're not really supporting any books. Okay, Mary Ann? Oh, the question is, do you support banning books?
No. There's a process for book review. Yep.
Greg?
In schools, yes.
Lisa?
It depends. I pass.
Okay, Donna?
No.
Mario?
No.
Okay. Do you support teaching civics in high school? And we're starting with Linda.
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Absolutely, yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
Good, all right.
That was easy.
I say good because everyone answered quickly.
It was rapid.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yes, yes. What is, oh. Okay. Do you support continued use of the warrior mascot? Okay, I'm starting with Mary Ann McKenzie.
I pass on that.
Okay.
It involves discussion.
Okay. Greg,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Donna,
I'm going to pass. I'll touch on that in my closing.
okay, Mario,
Pass.
Christopher,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Do you find, okay, we're starting with Greg. Do you find that your district adequately prepares students for college careers or other careers?
I have to pass. I haven't been here.
Pass. Lisa,
So far, yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Mario,
Absolutely, yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to start with Lisa. Is your graduation rate comparable to other communities? In the-
Yes.
In the area?
Yes.
Okay, Donna,
I'm not, yes, I think so. I'm not sure 100%. I think we're better.
Mario,
We are better, yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Greg.
Pass.
And then we're going to start with, who did I start with that time?
Me. So it goes
So
to
is
Donna.
Donna
Oh,
next?
yes.
Okay.
I ran out of list here. Is the budget for after-school activities being used effectively, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Mario, yes? Christopher?
Oh, I'm red. I'm dead here. Yes.
You said yes?
Yes.
Linda? Oh, I see, red.
Yeah.
Okay. Linda?
I don't know.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Greg,
Pass.
Lisa.
Yes.
Okay. We're starting with Donna. No, we just started with Donna. Mario, would you consider investigating green initiatives to possibly save money?
Yes.
Christopher?
Second, please.
Oh, he can't say anything
I
yet.
can say it.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. Linda?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Greg?
No.
Lisa?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're starting with Christopher. Should the district consider developing more parking space?
Absolutely.
Okay, does anyone want to vote no on this? Oh, we have to go around? Okay, we'll go around. Christopher said yes. Linda?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Okay, Greg?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Okay, and we're starting with Linda. Is the district ready to transition back to virtual learning if necessary?
Yes.
Mary Ann? Am I?
Yes.
Linda started, right, Mary Ann?
Sure. Yes.
Yes. Greg?
Pass.
Lisa?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
Okay, we are ready now for closing statements. And we're going to go back to the beginning of the line.
Oh, sure.
Greg is going to be first, and we're going to go right down the line, 1 minute each. Closing statements, no red cards, no zingers. Okay? Tell us something positive in your closing statement.
Something positive. Oh my goodness.
Well, tell us what you would like to have happen, not what you would not like to have happen.
I would like to have a school where the teachers and the parents are closely connected and they deal with their students on an individual level, and that there's no groupthink, there's no any type of sexuality or anything like that. I would like that. And then all the other things as well, take care of people that are mentally challenged, and that I guess that's it. I'm tired.
Okay, Lisa.
To change our world and to make a positive difference, it starts with us, with our children, with our future. I was never good at public speaking until my mom passed away 10 years ago. The funeral home was in charge of speaking about my mom, and I realized they did not really know my mom. So how could they convey what was most important for their last words describing her? I knew in that moment I needed to find my voice. Last year, I had an adverse reaction to the COVID-19 vaccine. Not knowing what was going to happen to me at the time made me look at what meant the most importance to me in my life and what to advocate for: my family, my children. And if I was not here, how would they persevere on their own to navigate our world today? It made me realize the best gifts of what we can give to our children: love, of course, but also the true factual knowledge and education to carry on, to think, and to stand firmly on their own 2 feet. Thankfully, I ended up okay.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay, I passed on that rapid fire warrior head thing because I didn't think it was a yes or no answer. I think as a board, they made it a heritage symbol, which shows that we have pride in that warrior head and that a lot of alumni, it's very important to them and it's a sentimental thing. But my feeling is that, just as not all Native Americans are warriors, not all warriors are athletes. It's not only in the athletic fields, but we are warriors. The kid who is anxious to go to school and shows up every day is a warrior. The kid with a learning disability who has to work 3 times as hard and just keeps fighting through is a warrior. The staff member who maybe has cancer and has to wear a mask, even when there's not a pandemic, is a warrior. And I just think we have to work on instilling warrior pride. Warrior is a spirit. It means you keep fighting to be the best you can be. And we want to instill warrior pride. And it has nothing to do with a bonnet. And I just think you know, as well, we are the warriors and we're going to turn out kids with fighting spirits, and that's more important than any symbol to me. Thanks.
Thank you. Mario?
This was a good time, Ann. That was a lot of fun. Thank you. We have a lot of difficult topics coming up in the next few years with the school. The experience I have in the food service hospitality business, leading 20 managers and 300 plus employees, has taught me a lot about leadership and collaboration and setting a vision and being able to execute it, but also holding people accountable. I think there's a lot of good things that are going on in the school, and I just want to help continue to move it forward. And at the same time, not have one piece on my plate. There are many different things going on in the school we need to address. This is not a one agenda type of board seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Christopher?
The students of Lake George School District are my top priority. In collaboration with the current board, teachers, and administrators, I will work hard to make sure that every child is given every opportunity to succeed. These are our kids, and as parents, we should have a voice. If elected, I will be that voice for us. I will be the voice for our kids and parents who are understandably concerned. Our bus garage is in dire shape and will need significant improvements. Let my professional expertise come as use for this district. As a Marine, I can work with people from all walks of life while maintaining a positive culture. As a parent, I have empathy for others, along with patience when needed. And as a small business owner, I have the knowledge to navigate fiscal responsibility and accountability. Now more than ever, our stakeholders are looking to the board to make every dollar count. They are looking to the board to be leaders in our district, promoting positive experiences and personal development. Whether or not I am elected, I will continue to support this district and our community. Thank you, Evan, for your time, and thank you to the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County for hosting this event.
Thank you, Christopher. Linda Clark?
With all that is going on in the world today, it was a shock to find last summer when speaking to parents in my neighborhood what was actually happening in our beloved Lake George School. I was deeply concerned that the contaminated outside world had seeped its way into my safe little community. This was the school that I trusted as a single parent to help shape and prepare my children for the future. I will forever be grateful for the Mondella family, Michelle Niedermeyer, Sherman Parker, and others, all who had a powerful and positive impact on my children, who are now educators in local schools. I have 5 grandchildren relying on public education to prepare them for the future. I do believe that what can be done locally will influence on their schools. Consequently, I feel I have a civic duty to always give back to my community with the gifts that God has given me. May we look to our school symbol and warrior on to protect the innocence and the education of our children. Hallelujah, even here.
Thank you, Linda. Mary Ann McKenzie?
Thank you. If I am reelected as a Lake George School Board member, I will continue to promote a positive culture in our schools that is characterized by respect, accountability, open communication, and empathy. I will endorse educational models that maximize student achievement, academic success, and offer opportunities for individualized and enhanced student learning. I will support the social and emotional wellness and safety of all members of the school community. All of my decisions will be student-centered, fiscally responsible, reasonable, informed, collaborative, inclusive, and transparent. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to our school district.
Thank you, Mary Ann. And thank you, candidates, for attending and informing the public of your positions. Thank you, public, for coming and exhibiting your civic interest. Please vote on May 17th. Ballots can be cast between 9 and 8 at Lake George Elementary School. Applications for an absentee ballot can be found on the school district website. Again, thank you all for coming and the audience for showing interest. Good night.
Thank you, Anne. Great job, moderating. Thank you, ladies, for your extra hard work.